What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and this Adventures with Purpose scandal, it just continues to unravel, and it's almost becoming overwhelming at this point. Because it's just like, right when you think you have seen it all, and you've heard it all, another person steps forward with a story to tell. And you know, these people aren't necessarily what you would call victims of Jared. These are old co-workers, old acquaintances, who know what type of person Jared is, who have had firsthand experience and have seen what type of person Jared really is and what type of company AWP really is. Now, don't get me wrong. If we were to believe Jared's sister, then allegedly there are other victims. There are other people in Jared's family who have had horrible things done to them, allegedly. But it's up to them to tell their story on their own time. But a lot of people have been asking me, and I see, the talk on social media, why now? Why is everyone suddenly stepping forward now with something to say about Jared and Adventures with Purpose? Well, the reality is, folks, a lot of people have been scared. A lot of people have been intimidated. A lot of people have been silenced because you don't just get to speak out about AWP. If you do, then you get all types of backlash. Now listen, I don't want to call myself an expert, but I am like a professional when it comes to dealing with crazy, outrageous, psychopathic, downright cult-like fan bases. We deal with these crazy, out-of-control fan bases all the time. And many times they have this cult-like mentality that whoever they're a fan of, they can do no wrong. And they will go to the ends of the earth to attack you or do whatever they can if you ever speak illy or you ever say anything that they don't like about whoever they idolize, right? So we've dealt with it with plenty of different celebrities and musicians on this channel. We even saw Britney Spears' fan base. They turned on her own kids, attacked her kids, exposed her kids' social media, accounts, sent them death threats, all type of stuff. So we've seen it get crazy. Now, when it comes to AWP, you would not think that they would have this type of fan base. Because AWP is supposedly this group that's out there to help families. I would beg to differ. But supposedly they do so much good, right? They do so great. Oh, Adventures with Purpose, they help everyone. So you would think they would have more of a laid-back, chill fan base. Like, y'all are watching these videos because you want to see them supposedly help families, right? Yet it turns out that AWP has a mob-like, cult-like fan base that are almost more passionate about them than I've seen anyone be passionate about anything. And I find that really weird because the type of videos that AWP makes, you would think it would not attract that type of audience. You know what I mean? You would think that they would attract different type of people. Now, I'm not saying that everyone that is an AWP fan, they're all part of this AWP cult and they're all part of this mob and they're all hateful and extremely ugly and mean to people online. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying that a large portion of their fan base, they get downright irate and they throw all ration out the window as soon as they hear anyone speak negatively about AWP. So oddly enough, AWP over the years, they have formed this mob-like fan base that they know goes out there and attacks anyone that speaks out about Jared or about Doug or about anyone else. Hell, some of their lapdogs, their little flunkies, are in my comment sections right now losing their mind that I'm simply reporting the news that Jared is an alleged child R-word. But like I was saying, people are coming out and they're speaking out, and now another ex-member of the crew is speaking out. I actually came across his post. I think that maybe he wants to remain anonymous. Now, I don't think this dude was like a crew member that worked for them for a long time, but he was part of their crew for a certain mission. I want to just go ahead and dive right into what he has to say. But first, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, drop a thumbs up. It helps the video in the algorithm. But let's go ahead and hop right into this post. I was part of the crew for the snowcat removal in Colorado in September 2020. 2 young men died when their snowcat went through the ice the prior winter. SAR recovered the bodies, so this was an equipment extraction. Not only did he disregard the safety of the volunteer divers that drove on their personal dime from Oregon with their personal gear, but he disrespected the deceased. Let's pause right there for a moment. You see, Jared, he is a con man. He knows how to manipulate people, and he knows how to use emotions to manipulate people. AWP, this whole company, in my mind, was nothing more than a front to try to shield him from criticism, to try to make him look like a better person than what he was. And he would prey on people's emotions. Like, for one, he's preying on your emotions as a viewer. He wants you to think that he's doing all this good and that they're the voice for the voiceless. Anyone that thinks AWP is the voice for the voiceless, I don't know what to tell you, but you maybe need to go get a brain scan. How are they the voice for the voiceless? A reality television show that pulls cars out of the water is all of a sudden the voice for the voiceless? Anyway, he wanted to prey on your emotions because, hey, I can get all types of donations if I just pretend I'm helping people, if I pretend I'm doing this for a just cause. But not just that. He preys on other people as well because people will contact him, divers and scuba divers and people with experience doing things like AWP. They will contact him and they will volunteer to help him, volunteer to work for him. So what he's doing is he goes on these little missions and he takes in volunteers. And guess what? That's one less person that he has to pay. So Jared, he's raking in big bucks with every mission. Meanwhile, he's bringing in volunteers to help that never see a dime. Now, if volunteers want to volunteer their help, fine. But I think it should be known that Jared is making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of these videos. And he's getting tons of donations, so it's not like this is a charity event. So these divers who would come out to help, they were naive. They were coming to volunteer not knowing that Jared was running this multi-million-dollar business. But let's go forward. All he cared about was getting the shot. One diver shot to the surface from 60 feet when a lift bag broke free of the cat. By the grace of God, that diver didn't get the bends. Jared didn't even acknowledge what happened. Didn't ask if the diver was okay or nothing. When the cat did surface, you'll notice on the video there's no commentary right before because Jared was engaged in a heated argument between myself and a few others. JL, which is Jared, wanted to send more divers down to check on the progress of the lift bags with compressors still running, meaning it could pop up at any point. And it is violent when that happens. We were yelling at him that it could be way, way too dangerous, and he didn't care. When the cat exploded to the surface mid-argument, had divers been down there, they most certainly would have been hurt or killed. A pair of pants from the deceased were found on the cat. While we were pulling the cat from the water on the ramp, Jared jumped into the cab, draped the pants over himself, and put his arm in the air like he was riding a bull. A pair of pants from the deceased that we found in the car. He never cared about these people. All he cared about was the money. Once they started finding remains in the recoveries, that's when he figured out where the real money was. So Jared, in this intimate moment of finding this vehicle that 2 people died in, or 2 people died on, you know, these people were riding through the snow, crashed through the ice, and they both lost their lives. Jared, in this intimate moment, while they're pulling this vehicle out the water, he hops onto the vehicle, grabs a pair of pants that belongs to one of the deceased people, and then he drapes it around himself almost like a cape and acts like he's riding a bull. Because Jared does not care about any of these victims. Jared and AWP, they were never a voice for the voiceless. They were always people who took advantage of these situations for financial gain and clout. Now, Adventures with Purpose, sure, they did a good job at finding these cars, but at what price? At what expense? And what I have to ask you here today is this. If this person, who as far as we know, now we don't know the full extent, but as far as we know, they've worked with Jared like one time. If this person could notice what type of person Jared was, and if all of these other ex-members can notice what type of person Jared was, then what makes you think that the other people working even closer to Jared did not know? You want me to believe that Doug had no clue that Jared was a shitty human being, that he did not see any of these other things happening around him. We've had member after member after ex-member speak out. We've had family of people whose vehicles have been found by Jared and AWP. They've spoken out. Yet you want me to believe and to pretend that Doug and these other guys who were really close to Jared had no idea what type of person Jared was, or what type of scheme Jared was pulling in all of these, extractions. It goes to show that everyone around knew. They might not know about Jared's allegations, but they knew that Jared was shady as hell and that he was doing all types of messed up, effed up things to people, and that he did not ever care about these victims. Jared never cared about a single person that he pulled out of a car or pulled out of the water. From what this guy says, this is when they realized, oh, this is where the real money is. Finding remains. Finding people whose bodies are still in their car and trying to get the rewards. Trying to get the headlines when we find these people. It was never to do the right thing. It was never for good. It was always for Jared's own glory, Jared's own personal reasons. I guess he was seeking validation. I don't know. But the more and more people that speak out, the harder it is for me to believe that no one knew that Jared was this monster. Yes, maybe they did not know the full details of the allegations, but to work alongside Jared, you had to know what type of person Jared was. You simply did not, you weren't blind to all of this other stuff that everyone else saw. So that's why I have a personal problem with some people in AWP, because they sat by and they knew that Jared was doing this, and hell, they probably took part in a lot of this stuff as well. But he was asked one question, and I think this is important because I want to talk about this too. Someone asked him, what happened to the pants? Sam pretty much confirmed in the chat on one of the lives that rumors of Jared keeping souvenirs were true. Now, the person is named Flying Diver, says, I don't remember for sure. I believe they were surrendered to the mother of the deceased. There were a lot of people around that saw it. Thank God the mother didn't. This was before AWP got super big. The cat was taken back to Central Oregon for restoration, so I'm sure he got something out of it. So you see, Sam, another former member of AWP, he has spoken out on his own live stream, and he's been in the chat of other live streams. And this is a point that I tried to make in a previous video, that it appears, allegedly, from what people say, that when Jared would find these people in vehicles, he would keep a souvenir. Meaning that he would keep something belonging to a deceased individual that he found in a vehicle underwater, and he would keep it for himself as a souvenir. That's kind of sick and twisted and weird to me. There are families out there right now, allegedly, who don't have all of the belongings of their loved ones because Jared took something out of their vehicle, maybe broke a piece off of a vehicle, something to keep as a souvenir. That is downright sick and disgusting. But it's something that allegedly was happening for a while now at AWP. And as I keep saying, you know, I could talk until my face turns blue. It's gotten to the point where either you're accepting reality or you're in denial. And the reality is that AWP was never what you thought it was. That AWP has been victimizing people in many ways for years. So all the good you think they done, or all the good you thought they did, a lot of it is tainted. And if you talk to the family members of the people who they found and the vehicles they found, they would tell you the same things out of their own mouth. So I don't know what more needs to come out for people to realize that AWP pulled the wool over everyone's eyes, but now we have another tidbit, another little story, another tiny piece to this puzzle that is all adding up to Jared and AWP just being a large, gigantic piece of shit that never really helped anyone. But you know, what can I say? What can I do? All I can do is report to you all of the information that is out there. It is up to you all to form your own opinion. But at the time of this recording, AWP still has plenty of support. And people are still going to support all of these members of AWP. And if that's what you want to do, fine. But just be smart. And just remember everything that we've heard. And, you know, use your common sense, because common sense will tell you that Jared wasn't the only one doing all of this stuff. And that there's no way other people did not know if all of these other people did. But with that being said, I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.